Whether you're new to The Sims 3 or a veteran player,
It's been 84 years.
I've got some tips and tricks to share with you all today that will help you go the distance with your gameplay. So first, if you're really in it for the long haul, you gotta make it nice.
I made it nice!
Your game, I mean. So besides these must-have NROS mods, I recommend Regal Save Cleaner to help with managing your save files. The further you get into a legacy, the more important this gets. And Regal Save Cleaner is amazing. It creates backups of your saves and cleans up unnecessary files. It helped me resolve the error 12 messages I was getting, so I can't recommend that enough. I also use Lazy Duchess's random sim fixes, which helps with pudding face. If you don't know what that is, I think it means a few different things, but to me it means when all the Sims look the same, like the facial sliders are all set to the default 0. This is a really big problem when you get far into a legacy because the game just generates Sims with the exact same faces. It got lazy. And speaking of other mods, I can almost hear the gasp from the audience. I do not play with any story progression mods. It's the basic bitch EA story progression for me. I tried using NROS story progression, it made my game lag, so I just said to hell with it. I don't use any. But if I were to do a legacy again, I would definitely use one, and if NROS story progression works well for you, I would definitely recommend that. I also heard great things about similar 90s mod. Story progression mods are just great. They keep your town feeling alive and fresh. But anyway, I'll leave a list of all the mods I recommend down below in the description. So my lame ass has spent years playing with a single household in The Sims 3, to the tune of 16 generations in about 110 in-game weeks and counting. And folks, during this time, I've learned so much about myself. But to keep my game feeling fun and entertaining and challenging, I've found that a goal-oriented gameplay is just the best. So whether it's pursuing a new skill or career or profession I haven't played with much, having some type of plan for each sim in your household and goals to work toward is so important, just like in real life. And what's even better is when a Sim's goals are analogous to their personality. Now obviously the game already gives us goals via lifetime wishes and stuff, but adding your own little goals to it doesn't hurt anybody. I've also used all this time in these legacies to explore things I don't usually do in the game, such as exploring the Showtime professions. Before this legacy, I never really played around with Showtime, but now there's this lovely lady in the household who performs sold-out concerts for low-poly Sims. And believe it or not, it was this family that I first experimented with skills like inventing and sculpting, which are now some of my favorites in the game. Overall, goals keep the game challenging and rewarding, and I really think it adds some depth to these pixelated people. Y'all, it's a question that has been asked since the beginning of time. I think Socrates himself asked, does size really matter? Well, I have to admit that I'm a bit of a size queen. Did I really just say that? I think the size of your household is what we're talking about can really affect your enjoyment in the game. But it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of scenario. You gotta find your own groove. For me, I found that a good 6 to 8 Sims is just perfect, but I don't mind playing around with 9 or 10. So let me tell you a story. Around generation 12 of this family, everybody died except for a single Sim. The household dwindled down from like 8 or 9 Sims to just one single person, and I hate to say it, but that one person did not satisfy me. This is why, unlike some other Sims players, I never move Sims out of my active household. I don't mind managing multiple Sims. I find it challenging, it's more chaotic, and I have fun watching how Sims with different personalities interact with each other. And in my current household here, there are some really interesting dynamics. If I didn't have a household this size, or if I moved certain Sims out, I feel like I'd have missed out on a lot of fun gameplay. Also, this might be a little controversial to say, but I'm not a fan of rotational gameplay in The Sims 3. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it or that it's not a good idea. I'm just saying for me, it's not enjoyable, and I like focusing on a single family better. I guess spending all my time with a single family really helps me get invested in them and their stories, but definitely do what's best for you. Okay, y'all, I know we all want to eat the rich and stuff, but in The Sims 3, I've just learned to embrace the sweet life. I've heard people say they get bored when their Sims get rich, but call me a greedy slut pig.
Slut. Nobody
because I just don't got that problem. I think getting rich is part of the natural progression of a legacy family. And for me, more money doesn't mean less challenge. It can actually make things pretty complicated. Now, there's a whole formula behind how your household's builds are calculated. I'm not gonna act like I'm smart enough to know what that is. But I do know once your Sim's net worth gets into the millions, the bills can easily get out of hand. For example, this family pays $160,000 a week in bills. And all but darned, if they didn't have investments and $16 million in savings, they could very easily go broke. That's a real threat. We feel threatened. Both my current household and my legacy family are living large, but that's not how things started, and I love being able to look back and see how far we've come. After you get a few generations into a family, it's just a given that they'll be wealthy, so what do you spend all that money on? For me, it's investing in businesses around town, buying vacation homes, upgrading our car collection. These are tried and true ways to blow through them coins, and if you want some money-making tips, check out this video up top. Speaking of living in excess, what do you do with all the shit that you've accumulated over the generations? People say it's best to clean out your Sims inventories because having too much stuff can affect your game's performance. In my current household family, I store all the stuff in the basement, like a true hoarder. But with my legacy family, I think I took a more practical approach and I just put everything in this alchemy cabinet. I really recommend this because you can basically put anything in these. By the way, for a while I was putting extra stuff in one of those World Adventures chests, but people were saying that can mess up your game. I don't know. So I just moved everything to the alchemy cabinet because I know that's safe. And what about gravestones? Well, with my current household, we just bought the graveyard and put all the gravestones up there. The ghosts love hanging out with each other at nighttime. But in my legacy, I keep all the gravestones, except for 2 special ones in my Sims inventories. I think you can also click on the mausoleum and manage the dead and place your gravestones in there too. My final tip for anyone who's interested in playing a legacy or in long-term gameplay in general is just to embrace imperfection. Whether in a simulation or real life, I've come to realize that perfect is boring. The Sims 3 has an amazing variety of both good and bad traits, and I can't recommend the bad ones enough. That's right, traits like insane, technophobe, neurotic, mean-spirited, coward. Mean-spirited. Okay, they love to fight. They all add this complexity and depth to Sims, and they simply make for much more enjoyable gameplay. I also recommend embracing your Sims' physical imperfections. Wow, she has a really interesting face. One of the joys of playing a legacy is seeing which physical characteristics get passed down through the generations, but it's also about the unexpected, like when my 5th gen Sims all randomly came out the womb with blonde hair.
What grown man has blonde hair?
But these imperfections and unexpected moments are really what make long-term gameplay so enjoyable. Anyway, be sure to check the description for some mod links and playlists. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.